Welcome to another video by Panic Props. Have you ever been looking at the stores for decorations and props and decor and have just not found what you're looking for? This video involves decorations for Halloween trees and those haunted scenes you make with the lit up houses and just for around your house. The other day I was wandering through a couple of dollar stores and good place to get small things to play around with, come up with ideas. I came across these little ceramic decorations and they're all set up. They got a little hook on them. You go right on the tree, Halloween tree if you're looking. And it was between seasons, so I happened to find some for Halloween and some for Christmas, which worked out very well for a new idea I came up with. And while I was about to leave, I came across a little salt and pepper shaker set, and almost put it back on the shelf, and then kind of looked at one of them and saw that it kind of looked a little like Sam from Trick or Treat. So since it looks a little bit like Sam, I figured I could do a little bit of do-it-yourself to it and make it look a lot like Sam. So I'll show you what I'm talking about. So here we are. Here are the things that I found at the dollar store. You see the salt shaker on the left, the pepper shaker on the far right. Christmas ornament I found, the Santa Claus, and the three Halloween ones I found there. These ones have already been modified, so I'll show a picture of the previous results of them, how they looked before, and then I'll show you now what they look like for my do-it-yourself creations. So, here's Sam, what will soon be Sam. As you look, he's got the perfect little face for Sam, round head, the button eyes, and I figured I could make that look like pajamas, coveralls, the pull-ups, and we'll see how well that one turns out. But salt shaker, be salt shaker Sam pretty soon. Here was a Santa Claus. You'll see. I'm trying to make it look more like Krampus. Krampus is the Halloween Santa. And as you can see how hollowed out his eyes. I opened up his mouth quite a bit. And we're just going to use a lot of paint on him to give him more of the Krampus feel. And I'm looking to add some horns to him as well, so I'll show you that later. Here was a jack-o'-lantern, which I'm making more into a scarecrow. I did use a razor to cut into the ceramic a little bit, so I'm going to be adding some straw to the bottom. Add a little patch to his leg there, and a little bit of straw around the neck. I modified his mouth a little bit, made him look a little less happy, and a little bit of modification to the eyes too to help with that. Here was a Dracula, and I already had a Dracula, the pepper shaker, which I'm not real sure what I'm going to do with that yet, but decided to take this Dracula and modify him, and since he was already in a trench style coat or cape, I'm going to make him into more of a Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. So with that I'm going to do some modifications with paint again. And I modified the V of his hairline so it's not V down. Gave him some deep, angry eyebrows. And modified his ears. They're not pointed any longer. And then I did a little bit of work around his chin, his cheeks, to take away the roundness. He looked a little too happy and looked like he was smiling. So we got rid of that smile for him. And there was a little bit of extra ceramic around him. I modified. I took the ceramic out of it, so it's not hanging off the edges there. Here's a witch. She was a little tough. She had a little bow. Obviously, I took the bow out of there. Or not really a bow, but it was the ties of her cape. I really like it. So, used the razor, scraped the ceramic off there, so those ties are no longer there. It'll look a lot better. I gave her some pointed shoes. They were not pointed before, so I used the razor again, just scraped away, works really well. And then her face, I gave her more of a deeper face. I cut her nose back. It was like a round nose. It looked too friendly. She had a big smile on her face, so we kind of took that out too. So gave her sunken cheeks. Her eyes are a little more sunken in. and her nose is more jagged looking now. So that I believe will give me more of a Halloween or a Halloween witch, for which I'm looking for, rather than a friendly little happy one. And this is gonna be the tough one, Dracula. He looks real friendly, real happy. It's already glazed, already burnt or cooked, and yeah, it's solid. I can't scrape anything on there, so I don't know if I'll find anything to do with him, but I'll do my best. And we will get to that next. Okay, so here we are, back with the ceramics. Here's the toughest one I had here, talking about Dracula. I couldn't modify him because he was already glazed. I couldn't shave off any of the ceramic or anything. He was already cooked, solid, taken care of. Couldn't do anything about it. So the only option I had was to add some paint. He was really, I don't know. It was really difficult with this one. Didn't have much shape to even work with. So only thing I could really do is add a little bit of gray detail into his hair. I gave him the red eyes. Gave him some shapely eyebrows versus the little ones that he had. Giving him more of an attitude, I guess. Added some red fangs to his mouth here. A little bit of detail to the bow that he had on. And I actually painted on a vest for beneath his cape here. So he's got a vest, got some red buttons on the vest, just for a little bit more detail. And pretty much I painted the vest to give it more of a flat appearance versus the original shiny appearance. But other than that, nothing else done to him. He's just Dracula, the pepper shaker. And yeah, that's all I could do with him. But we'll get on to the rest. That'll be more fun. Here we go. We got the witch. She now is a painted green face, witch's red eyes. Gave her some orangish red hair. Put her in a black cape, or black dress, I suppose, with a black hat. Her cape, I decided to do like more of a maroonish color, and with the maroon pointed toes on her boots. You know, we shaved this out, so she got the pointed toes there. Pretty much that would be it. Her face is sunken in now, as you can see. I added a little darker green to her eyes and her cheekbones, just to give it more of a darker detail. Did add a lighter lime to her face on top of the light green, just to give it a little bit more more of a effect, so that it has more definition or interest, I guess, to the skin tone itself. And then, you know, just a little gold clasp here. But add a little bit of touches to the broom here to give it some slight detail too. So pretty much for a lot of these things I've worked on, these ceramics, there's 3 go-to brushes I've been using. I'm using one of these with the fine tip. That way I could touch the small areas, put the pupils in, things like that, you know, small areas like that. This flatter brush I'm using for pretty much full coverage. It works for painting the whole body, and then after the first initial paint, sometimes I've used it to add another lighter layer. I use the extended tips here to not fully paint on a layer, but to just barely graze over, and it gives a little bit of lines and detail to parts of the ceramic figure. And then this is one I use a lot, this feathered one. So on the next one I'll show you what the feathered one works really well for. Here we are. This one I was looking at, Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. I also considered making him Jack the Ripper, but I went with Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. As you're looking here, you can see he's got one blue eye, Dr. Jekyll. I gave him one red eye, Mr. Hyde. His hair is different on the left versus the right. Dr. Jekyll was more of a, you know, straightforward guy. He had, you know, obviously his hair is combed well and stuff like that. Mr. Hyde, he was crazy. I gave him, you know, his hair is all over the place with the detail in here. So, The other things I did shave the cheekbones, as we remember, so it's got that little bit of detail. This used to be a Dracula, so I took the point out of his hairline here with the razor, took the points off of his ears with the razor, and then to make it more Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, I gave him the purple cape. It does have that light brushing over the purple with this brush here, and that's how I was able to pull that off, is I would barely use the tips to add the additional layer on top of the purple. I did give him a green vest, the black buttons on his vest, gray tie, gray pants, black shoes, gray bottoms. And then with some clay I got, I was able to build this top hat, because when I think about Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, I think about a guy, he had a top hat. So whenever you see anything about him and watch any movies with him, he's got a top hat. He's a really finely dressed gentleman until he's Mr. Hyde. He's not so gentlemanly, but yeah, that's Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. He's all right. We'll head on next to the Scarecrow. He's more fun actually than the other three. So here we go. Got Mr. Scarecrow here. He looks a little happy still. I tried to get that grin off of his face, but pretty much ended up just with the pointed fangs. He still looks like he's really happy. His eyes I tried to make look more sinister, but didn't really end up very sinister. That's alright though. He's still good. Added the patch with the razor. Also added the hay, or straw, I guess, with the razor here and here. So I did give him those details, made sure that detail was out with some paint. Brought the detail out with this, 2 layers, the yellow and the orange. Yellow and orange. Up here on his face, or his pumpkin head, I guess. Did it with the standard orange. And I did want to put a yellow layer in for the edge of the pumpkin. Obviously, when you cut a pumpkin, the outside is orange, the inside is another color, a brownish yellow. So I wanted to add some detail of that, so you see there is some depth to him. And then with the pumpkin lines, I gave some dirtyish yellow lines in there, so it gave some more detail to his head. Beyond that, a little bit of darker color inside of his sleeves, and the green gloves, since he's got the green stem, figured his hands might be pumpkin vine or something like that, so that's what I went with. Gave him some brown boots. Other than that, yeah, he's all taken care of. Added some darker tones to his pants, makes him look a little more rugged, more dirty. It's always about the details when you're doing these things, to give him more of a lifelike, realistic. Gives him more interest as well. I mean, it's not just a plain orange pumpkin head with a blue jacket and blue pants and some brown shoes. They got some lines, some detail to them and stuff. It kind of draws more interest into them that on first glance you might not have noticed, but it might catch your eye, and then you're going to go back and look and be like, oh wow, there's this, there's that. You never know what you're going to see, and keeps your company busy looking at them. So now we're going to get into a more fun one. I did grab Santa Claus, and here's Santa, or should I say here's Krampus. I did take the razor. There wasn't a whole lot I could do with Santa, but I did take the razor and I did hollow out his eyes, because Krampus does not have any eyeballs. And then Krampus has this very hollow, open mouth. Like, I don't know. I have no idea. But I did shave the beard down to allow for a lip. There's a 3-dimensional lip here. And opened up his mouth. And then I added a lot of darker reds to all of his costume. Except for the belt. You wouldn't see any blood on a belt, or his boots. But yeah, definitely on the white. Definitely on the red of the jacket and all that. The hat. Definitely covered with red. I added a little bit of pinks into his beard. I didn't want to overwhelm his beard, but I did put in the gray details again with this brush. This brush is great for that. Just barely put the tips in and, just feather it on. It's great. This thing's great. And then the bloody mittens. I had to do bloody mittens. But yeah, that's Krampus there. The horns, those are also clay. So it's a great clay. It's a Crayola clay that I used. Air dries, stays soft if you keep it in the container and keep it sealed up. Yeah, it's like Krampus horns, kind of like a goat horn or something that he has going on. So, yeah, the horns, they didn't take very long to dry. And then again, I painted them pretty much with this, painted them with all the main color, the lighter brown. And then I went in with this one with the tips dipped in the darker brown and just pretty much lightly feathered them on. And it gives detail. Make sure you don't miss the back sides. Sometimes if you're not paying attention, you will not remember to hit these areas, but yeah, definitely hit them. Because if you got people over and they're like very interested in your creations here, they're going to be turning them in all directions and they will see if you miss something. So always take a look at your paintings, all your creations from all the different angles and make sure everything is complete on them. The last one, but the one I really was excited about this project with, is Sam. If we remember Sam, he was a mummy, a salt shaker mummy. You know, all right. But yeah, I like Sam. Sam, he made the whole project worth it. So I left Sam's pumpkin alone except for the pumpkin stem. The pumpkin stem was not green originally, but it was orange. They just did a real quick painting job on it, but yeah, gave it a little bit more detail, added some black detail to the stem. I darkened the eyes, the nose, and the mouth because they were not completely painted well. I did use a mixture of red and orange to create Sam's pajamas, which turned out to be really close to the original color, if not the same color. He did have these little toes here. He didn't have stitching on the toes in this area, but I added the stitching because it just gives it more detail, more interest to the feet. It didn't look right without any there, so did add the patches, the stitching on the patches. Another patch up here. If you look at Sam, he's got one on the top in the lower area of his pajamas. He does wear gloves, same color, and they do have these detailed lines on the back. I did not give him the finger holes because, well, I didn't think it looked right. It kind of draw your eyes to his hands rather than his face, which is the best part of him. He's got this overlying cloth on his shoulders, down his chest here, and on his back. So I made sure to add that and then add the detail and the fraying on the edges. He does have a rope around his neck to hold this in place, so I did put a darker line for the rope. I put a couple of rope strands down the side here. So, and then his face has the stitching up the middle and across the middle. So this is pretty much right above his mouth line. And originally the mouth on the mummy was right here, so it's very close. You know, you got the mummy mouth here, and the stitch line is right above it, so that works well. And then he's got these wonderful button eyes, so I darkened his eyes. I didn't do them small like the original Sam is. I wanted big ones because he's really checking you out here. And so you got the black button eyes, and then I put the dots using this brush here, which makes it easy. Just dip the tip and dot them on. So got the 4 dots for the sewing area of these buttons. So that's Sam, and that's exactly what I was looking for. And there you have it, our painting video with these ceramic figurines for using as ornaments or decoration around your house, your haunt. And we do have a special Painting 101 video to help you with your mixing of colors, using primary colors, how to lighten and darken. It's kind of a general, informative video on using acrylics, oils, whatever paints you're using. So be sure to check that out. Share that one away with people that are, friends of yours, like crafting, arts, painting things. It's a pretty good video for just using 3 different colors of paint. So also could help a person save a lot of money if you don't want to invest in a bunch of different paint colors. But back to this video. we got our ceramics done. We got our salt and pepper shaker taken care of. Turned out real great. I had a lot of fun with it. Hope you did too. Really like to see what sort of ideas you come up with for switching a standard ornament into something even better. Always good to improve whenever you can. So, hope you liked the video. Hope you had a good time. Give it a like. Share it away. And be sure to subscribe. Be great. We'll see you on the next video. This is Panic Props. See you later.